Every year, thousands of European hunters walk into the woods carrying one gun and walk out empty-handed because that one gun wasn't enough. The guys who never punch an unfilled tag, they figured something out decades ago. Something the American market still refuses to take seriously. One platform, multiple calibers, zero compromises, the ability to cleanly take a red stag at 150 yards, then spin around and stop a charging boar at 20 feet with a completely different round. These are not your grandfather's over-unders collecting dust in a gun cabinet. These are precision-engineered European combination guns, and they are built to do what no bolt-action rifle or pump shotgun ever could alone. 5 guns, 1 list, and the number 1 pick is going to make you rethink everything you thought you knew about what a hunting platform can be. Look, not every hunter has $10,000 to drop on a combination gun, but here's the deal. Skipping on quality when your life depends on stopping a charging boar is not a budget decision. It is a bad decision. Antonio Zoli out of Brescia, Italy, figured out how to thread that needle perfectly, and the result is the Corona. Under the hood, Zoli builds the Corona's receiver from solid forged steel. Not aluminum, not lightweight alloy. Forged steel, machined to tight tolerances, and built to last through decades of hard field use. The locking system uses a classic Kirsten crossbolt combined with underbarrel locking lugs, which means this action does not loosen up after thousands of rounds downrange. That steel-on-steel lockup is the same philosophy that old European gun makers built their reputations on, and Zoli refuses to abandon it. Now, the trigger setup. The front trigger feeds the rifle barrel and comes equipped with a Stecker set trigger mechanism built right in. Push that trigger forward and the pull weight drops dramatically, turning it into a precision instrument for that 200-yard deer shot you did not expect to take. The rear trigger handles the shotgun barrel in a conventional double trigger layout, keeping the controls intuitive even in high-stress moments. Stepping up the game, the Corona ships in configurations that European hunters actually use in the field. The most common setup pairs a 1270 shotgun barrel with rifle calibers like 7x65R, 8x57 JRS, or 3006 Springfield. That 7x65R option is particularly smart. It gives you a flat-shooting rimmed cartridge that drops red deer and chamois cleanly out to 200 yards, while the shotgun barrel handles anything that gets inside 30 feet. For optics, the Corona uses a standard 12mm European dovetail rail. Pair it with a MA-KIP quick detach mount, torque the base screws to 5 through 7 Newton meters, and you have got a return to zero system that genuinely delivers. Pull the scope, run iron sights for the driven hunt, then snap the glass back on for the afternoon stalk. Same zero, every time. Here's the deal breaker though. The Corona's traditional soldered barrel assembly means thermal expansion is a real conversation during high-volume driven hunts. Back-to-back rapid shots from the rifle barrel can walk your point of impact slightly before the barrels cool back down. It is not a catastrophic flaw, but it is something you need to manage tactically. Sets you back somewhere in the neighborhood of $2,500 to $3,500, depending on configuration. For a hand-fitted Italian combination gun with forged steel construction and a functional set trigger, that is genuinely hard to beat. I know some of you will argue that spending more gets you more, and you're right. But wait until you see what is sitting at number 1 on this list. Now we get serious. If you have ever been on a driven boar hunt in Central Europe, you already know what I am talking about. The moment that Sounders explodes out of the brush, everything happens at once. You have got 2 seconds, maybe 3, to make a decision that cannot be undone. That is exactly the problem Blaser sat down to solve when they engineered the BBF97. Here is the deal. Most combination guns run a single lock mechanism. Fire the rifle barrel and the gun decocks. You have to manually recock the hammer before you can send that second round downrange. In a static mountain hunt, that is perfectly acceptable. In a driven hunt with a 300-pound boar closing the distance at full sprint, that half-second delay is an eternity. The BBF97 eliminates that problem completely with its double lock mechanism. When the hunter pushes the kick spanner cock and lever forward on the wrist of the stock, both firing pins and both mainsprings are tensioned simultaneously. Both barrels are hot and ready. Pull the front trigger, the rifle barrel fires. Immediately shift to the rear trigger, the shotgun barrel fires. No recocking, no mechanical delay. Just 2 rounds sent downrange in the time it takes most hunters to recover from the first shot. Under the hood, the BBF97 runs Blaser's free-floating barrel technology. Each individual barrel is engineered to expand independently inside the barrel block under heat. Even during rapid back-to-back fire sequences, the point of impact from each barrel remains mechanically consistent. That is not marketing language. That is a fundamental engineering solution to the thermal drift problem that plagued combination guns for over a century. Entering the elite tier, the BBF97 ships with Blaser's proprietary saddle mount system. That mount interfaces directly with 4 precision-milled recesses cut into the barrel block itself, completely bypassing the receiver. Thermal expansion in the action never touches your zero. Pull the scope for the driven hunt, run the express rib for snap shooting, then snap the glass back on for the afternoon sit. Your zero does not move. Period. The platform feeds on 3006 Springfield and 9.3 by 74R for large game applications. That 9.3 by 74R option deserves special attention. It pushes a 286 grain bullet with energy figures that overlap with the 375 H and H Magnum. If something big and angry is closing ground fast, that caliber ends the conversation immediately, tipping the scales at approximately 7 pounds 2 ounces without optics. The BBF97 carries slightly more mass than the Merkel B4 below it. That additional weight works in your favor when you are running Magnum-class cartridges. The recoil impulse gets absorbed into the platform rather than into your shoulder. The deal breaker? The Blaser saddle mount is a proprietary ecosystem. You are locked into Blaser-compatible optics and mounts exclusively. Third-party rings and rails simply do not interface with this system. If you already own quality glass and non-Blaser mounts, budget an additional $300 to $500 to reconfigure your optics setup before this gun is truly field-ready. Street price runs approximately $4,500 to $5,500, depending on wood grade and finish options. Sound off below if you trust this rig for driven hunts, because the guns above this rank are on a completely different level. Now we get serious. Stepping into the number 4 spot is the Merkel B4. This over and under platform is a featherweight tack driver tipping the scales at just 6.8 pounds. Slinging heavy lead like the 9.3 by 74R or the 6.5 by 55 Swedish downrange. This rig is built for the steep inclines and the deep timber. Recoil on those bigger calibers punches your shoulder like a pissed-off bouncer, but the gun is balanced so well you barely lose your sight picture. Diving into the mechanics, you have to appreciate the adjustable barrel regulation. Most old-school European combination guns require a gunsmith to literally melt the solder and realign the barrels with a blowtorch just to fix the point of impact. The B4 uses hidden mechanical adjustment screws buried right under the forearm, allowing you to physically shift the lower rifle barrel on the X and Y axis. This means you can perfectly zero your rifle bullet to match the exact impact point of your 12-gauge shotgun slug without paying a shop to rebuild your gun. Sound off below if you trust a single lock rig when a heavy bore charges you out of the brush. Look, the trigger on this thing breaks like a glass rod hitting concrete. You get absolute surgical precision when you are lining up a 200-yard shot across a canyon. Combined with the Sewell tilt-up mount, you can rip your optic off and throw it back on without ever shifting your zero. Honestly, there is a catch. The single lock mechanism means when you push the manual cocking tang forward, it only primes one mainspring. You fire the rifle, the gun instantly decocks itself. To fire the shotgun, you have to physically push that cocking lever forward a second time. If a herd of pigs is running full tilt right at you, that extra manual step to recock is going to cost you precious seconds and maybe your hide. Closer to the crown, we have the Krieghoff Optima. This is a traditional German drilling built to survive absolute hell. We are talking about 2 shotgun tubes sitting right on top of a dedicated rifle barrel, all machined from a solid block of chrome molybdenum steel. Feeds on the legendary 9.3 by 74R and the flat shooting 7 by 65R. The steel frame version tips the scales at roughly 8.3 pounds. When you send a heavy round downrange, the recoil feels like a slow, heavy wave crashing into a seawall. Perfectly manageable for fast follow-up shots. Looking at the mechanics, the Optima utilizes a brilliant combi cocking system paired with a universal trigger. Instead of a traditional safety that just blocks the sear, the sliding top tang physically tensions the twin hammer springs. Pushing the slide forward fully arms the weapon. Pressing it down completely decompresses the internal springs, rendering the firing pins totally dead and perfectly safe for climbing steep, rocky terrain. To take that long-range precision shot, you simply push the front trigger shoe forward to activate the set mechanism, making it break with the soft click of a snapping icicle. Running this platform gives you incredible versatility. Hunters can choose traditional soldered barrels for a classic slim profile, or step up to the thermostable system to completely eliminate heat warping during high-volume fire. Adding proprietary insert tubes allows you to convert one of the shotgun chambers into a small caliber rifle. Essentially, it transforms this drilling into a multi-caliber powerhouse, capable of neutralizing anything from a predator hiding in the brush to a massive stag at 200 yards. Listen, packing 3 barrels into one action creates an undeniable ergonomic flaw. The forend on the Optima is inherently wide and incredibly chunky just to cover all that hardware. Grabbing the front of this gun feels like gripping a 2x4. If you are used to the sleek, lightning-fast swing of a dedicated upland bird gun, this heavy rig feels sluggish and takes serious upper body strength to transition rapidly between running targets. Here is the truth nobody in the American hunting market wants to admit. The most versatile, most mechanically sophisticated, most tactically complete hunting platform available in 2026 does not have a magazine. It does not have a bolt handle. It does not feed from a detachable box. It has 3 barrels, a German patent, and a price tag that makes lesser hunters flinch. This is the Blaser BD14, and it does not just take the #1 spot on this list. It occupies a category entirely by itself. Start with what makes every other gun on this list feel like a compromise. The Krieghoff Optima gives you 3 barrels and legendary combi cocking reliability. But the Optima's twin hammer architecture adds mechanical complexity and weight that the BD14 simply does not carry. The Merkel B4 gives you the most refined 2-barrel platform in production. But 2 barrels means 2 caliber options. In a mixed game environment, where one morning produces a red stag at 150 yards, a charging boar at 20 feet, and a fox slipping through the timber at 80, 2 calibers is one short of what you actually need. The BD14 gives you 3. Under the hood sits Blaser's patented vertical block locking system. This is not a traditional hinge pin action. The vertical block engages through a geometry that distributes chamber pressure across a dramatically larger surface area than conventional break action designs. The result is a receiver that handles full magnum rifle pressure from cartridges like 9.3 by 74R, combined with magnum shotgun shells in the 20-gauge chamber, without transferring mechanical stress between the 2 systems. That engineering achievement alone would justify the price of admission. The double-lock kick spanner system tensions all 3 firing mechanisms simultaneously when the cocking lever is pushed forward on the stock wrist. Here is what that means in the field. Fire the large rifle barrel into a red stag at 100 yards. Immediately shift to the rear trigger selector. Choose between the 20-gauge shotgun barrel or the small rifle barrel chambered in calibers like .22 Hornet or 5.6 by 50R Magnum, and fire again without a single recocking stroke. That sequence happens faster than most hunters can work a bolt action for a second shot. Now, the thermostable free-floating barrel system. Every barrel in the BD14 block is engineered to expand thermally in complete mechanical independence from its neighbors. Cold hammer forged, nitrogen surface treated, hard chrome coated at friction points. These barrels are built to maintain point of impact consistency, whether you fire 1 round or 30 consecutive rounds across all 3 chambers. That is the problem that disqualified combination guns from serious hunting applications for most of the 20th century. Blaser solved it completely. The Blaser saddle mount takes optical precision to a level the Zoli Corona's dovetail rail and the Merkel B4's Sewell tilt-up system cannot match. 4 precision-milled recesses cut directly into the barrel block. Not the receiver, not the action, the barrel block itself. The optic and the barrels form one unified mechanical assembly. Receiver thermal expansion never touches your zero. Pull the scope, run the express rib for a driven hunt, reinstall the glass for an afternoon stalk. Same zero, every single time. No torque wrench required, no reconfirmation shots needed. The Blaser precision triggers break at approximately 650 grams, with 0 creep and 0 overtravel. That is match-grade trigger geometry installed as standard equipment on a hunting platform designed to handle the worst field conditions imaginable. At that pull weight, shooter-induced error on a 200-yard ethical shot on large game becomes a non-factor. Here is the only honest deal breaker on the BD14, and it has nothing to do with mechanics. The entry fee runs approximately $7,000 to $8,000 for the standard configuration, with grade 3 walnut and anodized black or steel gray metalwork. The Baroness edition, with titanium nitride triggers, grade 7 exhibition walnut, and hand-engraved arabesque scrollwork, crosses $12,000 without hesitation. That is not a gun purchase. That is an investment in a platform you will hunt with for the rest of your life, and hand down to the next generation in better mechanical condition than it left the factory. Weighing in at approximately 7 pounds, 2 ounces, without optics, the BD14 maintains the balance and handling characteristics of a standard over-under shotgun, despite carrying 3 barrels and 3 complete firing systems inside one receiver. That is not an accident. That is the result of decades of precision engineering refinement from a company that treats combination gun design as a serious technical discipline rather than a nostalgic tradition. The Blaser BD14 gives you the reliability of the Krieghoff Optima's legendary lockwork, the barrel regulation precision of the Merkel B4's adjustable architecture, the rapid-fire capability of the BBF97's double lock system, and then adds a third caliber option that none of those platforms can offer. 1 gun, 3 calibers, 0 compromises. That is why it sits at number 1, and nothing else on this list comes close. Look, the Europeans figured this out a long time ago. When your laws limit how many guns you can own, you stop buying cheap and you start buying right. 5 guns, 5 different answers to the same question. Which platform do you trust when the moment arrives and you only get 1 shot to make it right? Drop your answer in the comments. Tell me which one you carry and why. If this breakdown gave you something useful, hit subscribe. Share this with the hunter in your circle who still thinks a bolt action covers every situation. Because the best gear decisions come from information, not brand loyalty, not from what your buddy carries. Train hard, stay safe, and I will see you downrange.